Alright.
Guys, welcome to another Almost Famous radio podcast with yours truly, Jim Francis Mesa. Each week, or it seems like almost every other day, I'm doing a podcast, whether I'm at home and sitting in the John, or I'm here in this lovely, majestic, vintage 1920s circa pad, where a lot of stuff has been shot. Not people, rather, so it's just terrifying. The person sitting to the right, and I mean this, bro, okay, is really, it's something, because I saw you perform, by the way. You're performing, and I was swiping on my phone, and it's such a great vice, you got, and you're swiping, and you're like, oh shit, dude, this is cool, this dude is cool. And then your name popped up, and then it was like, wait a minute, Aeron Macintyre, guys. I said, oh my God, the Killer Klowns from outer space, dude. And sure enough, it was you, man. I'm beyond thrilled, because not only are you obviously you're an actor, an acting coach, a director. You've done it all, man. You've been on so many films. You've done theater. You worked on lighting. Is there anything you do not know how to do, by the way?
No. I'm just going to say no. I
love it.
I got a lot of info.
The man, guys, give it up for the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, let me say it again. The man, myth, the legend. Mr. Aeron Macintyre!
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
I am beyond thrilled, man. Thank you for making your trek out here. I understand he took 5 buses just to get here, right? No,
I didn't. That would have taken me a day.
Dude, but I mean, guys, the Killer Klowns of Outer Space is a cult classic, man. And your part, dude, it's so cool, because, get this, I'm going to blow your mind right, because you probably already knew this, but we're in the San Fernando Valley, right?
Uh-huh.
The very soundtrack, okay, to the Killer Klowns of Outer Space was written and performed by none other than San Fernando's own, the Dickies.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
They came and actually played, a couple of years ago. They had the anniversary, and they came and played live while the movie was playing. They played the opening, and then they had a little... It was a lot of fun.
I'm fanboying right now, dude.
Yeah.
It's really cool, because, honest to God, who doesn't like the 80s? There's something about that era.
Yeah.
Like the movies, the couples,
Right.
Lover's Lane.
Right.
Dude, it's got like all the... And you're playing like a punk rocker, man. Describe your cool character as he comes in, like... You're just an awesome punk rocker. Were you into punk back in the day? Because you're a musician too.
I mean, we'll talk a little bit about karaoke competition,
sure.
But I grew up in a household that had so much music, because my parents used to live here in LA, and they used to go when they were kids and to like big venues that had Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw. So they were into big band. They were also into musicals. Then I had an older brother who was into Joan Baez and Bob Dylan.
Love it.
Another brother who was into the Beach Boys. My sister was into the Beatles and Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix. So it was just a wide range. And I've just, developed this love for any kind of music.
Yeah.
Any kind of music just turns me on.
That's fantastic. So your character, the punk rocker guy, reminds me a lot of the dude in... what is it called? The movie Thrasher.
Mm-hmm.
You remember he plays the dagger guy?
Right.
I think you even told this.
Yeah.
It's between it's a cross between that and Robert Downey Jr. in Weird Science.
Right.
It's totally you, dude. Like you're coming in, it's just really rad. And I'm very grateful to have someone that that I truly respect. Because you're looking back a span of 40 years. Yeah. You've worn different hats, like various hats in this film industry, that God knows that if you don't stay afloat and buoyant, you're gonna sink, right? And you have, it's a feast of famine at times, like where sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. But my man, we're gonna go right into it and board the questions right now.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna check real quick because they left the crew left something here, and all right. Yeah, you hit the lights, please. Thanks. All right. Continue with the. So, I mean, you've done so many. We're talking about in the olden days, which is really cool. In the '80s, there were CBS made for home movies, which you waited till Saturday because this movie was gonna. And you started a few of these, right? Started a couple of them.
I just did one.
Yeah.
I just did one of those. It was Johnny Mae Gibson, FBI. It was about the first black female FBI agent.
That's so cool.
And I got to work with a lot of really good people really early on. So Lynn Whitfield and Howard Rollins and Bill Duke directed it, which Bill Duke is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Pretty big.
So that was that, and then I did Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
And then it was a little while before I did something else. I did a Midnight Caller, which nobody has ever heard of, and
it's such as the business.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What happens? Did you get zapped by the Killer Klowns? I'm not going to give the whole thing away. I mean, I should. Most people should watch this at one point or another in their lives or their previous lives. But did you get zapped? Like, what happens to you in jail when you're stuck in jail?
Well, we assume that I get killed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's never on film.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But there's a funny story about not funny to me.
Yeah.
About when we're in the jail cell. So I don't want to give it away either. But the clown kills somebody and then looks at us in the next cell.
Yeah.
And we're just supposed to look at him like afraid. And I said, wouldn't it be funny if one of us said, "What are you in for?" And they went, "That's going in." But the other guy had fewer lines, so they gave a line to him. And I was like, that was my line.
Right. Oh, wow. That is so rad, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I love this. This behind the scenes, you can only get this from the folks that were there, while the magic was happening in real time. All right, let's get, as you know, cue cards, right? This is tonight's show of sorts, only better. You've obviously been involved in film, TV, theater, comedy, stand-up, and improv across a span of 40 years now, okay?
40 years.
And it's probably, it feels like yesterday, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
What initially drew you to performing as an actor and wearing all these various hats? But when you first got that inkling, like, you know what, I might just give this thing a shot for some reason.
Yeah. Well, the time that I thought I could actually make it or actually do this professionally was more when I was like 19, 20. But I first got into theater in the 4th grade. And I was indoctrinated. I was dragged in by my music teacher, Mrs. Klutz. Mrs. Klutz.
Mrs. Klutz, I love it.
And she gave me a bunch of parts, and I didn't want to do it, and I got up on stage, and I was like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I was really into it through school, but you never give a thought to, I can make it in the business. But then I got a lot of really positive feedback in college, and so I decided to move out to California and start working there, and just immediately got to San Francisco and started producing, taking classes. After about 3-4 years, they asked me to teach. I started teaching, and the whole time I've just been, if I want to do a project, a lot of times you have to just say, I have to do it myself, because nobody else is going to do it for me.
Right.
The amount of work that goes into pitching and waiting and all of that kind of stuff is it's more difficult than just picking up a camera, I've collected a bunch of equipment and be able to go out and shoot a film yourself, or
it's fantastic.
Rent out a space and do a play, or whatever needs to be done.
Wow.
Just to stay working all the time.
Yeah.
The more diverse you are, the better it's going to be for you in the business.
And that goes to I should stay on point, but I'm going to deviate a little.
Yeah.
Because it more to your point. Like if lighting, you have all these other things that you can do. you tend to be more marketable, more, people are going to probably most likely hire you for other stuff.
Right.
Other than being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy being in front of the camera more so and behind the camera doing these other things? And I'm talking about if you had it your way.
Well, somebody asked me that before. What do you like best? Maybe you should focus because I got ADD. Like a lot of people do.
That's why
yeah.
I have these cards.
Yeah, exactly. So they asked me, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I really cannot make up my mind. I'm always just happy to be in the business, and that's what I told them. Then a couple of years later, I started thinking about it, and the thing that I love the most is teaching. I just really get off on working with people, seeing them improve, seeing them get it, seeing them get work. I've got a student right now who's doing a national, just going to start a national tour of Hell's Kitchen, playing Alicia Keys.
Love it.
She just did an SVU last year. Got another student who moved down here like 2 years ago, and she's done like 8 short films. So it's really, it really feels good to help people on that path and get them passionate as I am about it. I like it when people really get into it.
Yeah. Are you? What sign are you? Like Pisces?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really awesome because you're really gung ho about all this business.
I love it.
I love it. And wait till you guys get a hold of what he's up to lately. It's gonna blow your minds. I think it's fantastic that you're gonna be doing this. Maybe I'll jump on and hold the chords or something.
You got
the lighting or the boom.
Yeah, you got it.
Boom mic. Let's talk about Film Actors Café.
Okay.
And
I got my shirt right here. Merch.
Okay, the merch of Film Actors Café. How does it work? And then also your medium. What do you teach in the way of acting? What can people? Could a day look like for a person that's going to go audit the class, perhaps?
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. So Film Actors Café is a joint project with Sunda Kronquist at the LA School of Comedy. It's over in Westwood. And they've got a great studio with a 3-camera setup. You can do podcasts. You can do, interviews with people. You can do infomercials. You can do it's a great little studio. So I met her, became friends with her, told her about the acting classes. So now I'm teaching at the LA School of Comedy. But we also created a thing called the Right Club, working with Dustin Chafin, who's another big time stand-up comedian, and he does a Right Club, which is 4 weeks, and you come in and there's an hour-long interview with a prominent comic. We had Chris Titus and a bunch of other people. Anyway, and then the last part, you get up, you do your stand-up routine, and then Dustin gives you feedback on how you could improve it, how you can get more out of each joke and stuff like that. So that's why I called it the Film Actors Café, because it's not a cafe. You can't come. You can bring coffee, but you can't. You can't. We don't serve it.
Sure.
But it's a cafe because you've got a lot of things that you can choose.
Whole plethora of stuff.
Yeah, you've got stand-up comedy. Sunda does private coaching with people, and so it's a production facility.
Yeah.
And we've got a remote podcast. So if you want to do a podcast in your house, we can just bring in a setup. You have to supply Ethernet and electricity. You set it up in about 30 minutes, and you can do your podcast. And we'll leave and not destroy your place, we promise.
Well, that's the fun part, man.
Yeah.
Maybe you could take something, right, as a memento. Okay, so let's talk more about your craft.
Okay.
And how do you believe that's worked? And I know you've taught children, and kudos to you. That's fantastic working with youth. But I'm also I work in the education field when I'm not doing this, and I love helping the youth of the future. Make them brighter. Yeah. And let them shine, polish them, and hone in on their skill set.
Right.
So what exactly is I have it here in the cards. Your your acting.
Acting is reacting.
Acting is reacting.
Yeah.
Okay, simplicity as finance.
And I looked it up, and nobody else has that trademark. No.
So let's talk about a little bit.
Okay.
Shine light on that. Thank you.
So yeah, so through my 35 years of teaching, I've also been taking classes from other people,
Right.
because you can never do enough. The more information you absorb, there's no one way to do it. You know, Sanford Meisner, a lot of people go for that. A lot of people go to Uda Hagen or Stanislavski, all of that kind of stuff. But what I found is that a lot of times it was kind of trial and error. So you get a script, you work on it with your partner, you bring it into class and get critiqued. And I just felt a lot of that was based on the result instead of the process.
All right.
I really like the process. And it also kind of leads to, you're given the way to do it instead of having it be an organic process that comes from you, because you're the one they're going to hire. You're not going to hire somebody who's doing a paper, a cutout of somebody else. So we get the script at the beginning of the class. So get the script at the beginning of the class, we work through it. All we have to do usually is about 20 minutes. And then we start rehearsing it, and then we shoot it. So we shoot it as if it's a film, as if it's a single camera shoot.
Okay.
That way you also kind of get the idea during the class how the whole process works. So you learn the difference between doing a television show and a film and a theater program or a theater piece. So the biggest thing that I've found over the years that is a problem, I think, for some people is I discourage people from memorizing, because I think memorizing requires you to think. And if we don't think, I'm not thinking right now what I'm going to say.
Creative. Like
it's coming out of me because of my experience and all of that kind of stuff. So, if you're thinking about what your lines are, or thinking about what you have to show the audience, you're not going to have an authentic performance. And it's going to get stuck in a rut usually.
Right.
And you do it the same way, and you have a director come up and say, can you do it this way? And you say, yeah, sure. And then you do it exactly the way you just did it, because you're programmed.
Right.
So it's starting off with the text, looking at the text and going, okay, and the imagination is lightning fast. It's so fast if you let it. Right? If you just look at it and go, okay, so I've got to imagine I'm in a different place. All right, I'm talking to this person. What's my first line? Why am I saying it? What is my past that's brought me to this point? And if you answer those questions, and it really doesn't take long at all, if you answer those questions, the line becomes evident. Of course, that's what I said. So you're not remembering it, you know it.
Hence the reaction thing.
Exactly.
That's what you mean, reacting.
Right.
That's what you would normally say.
Yeah, a lot of times in rehearsals, I see people looking at each other, saying a line, and then looking away, and then looking back, and looking away, and looking back, because they're trying to remember their lines, and you can't think when you're looking somebody in the eye. Try it out. Try it out at home.
And then when you think, essentially when you think, you basically... If you're thinking, you're in your head.
Right.
Which is one of the things that kills the magic when you're acting. That is true.
Right.
So
during the course of the 3 hours, we work on the script, we shoot it, and then if the scene really looks good, I'll edit it together. So I edit it together so that it looks like a scene from a film. Now, the quality is on an iPhone, it's in a studio, you're not on location, but you can see the acting, you can see what people are doing. And so I've got quite a few little films up on my website that most of them are with kids, because that's who I've been working with for the last 10 years up in San Francisco. But I taught adults for, at that point, 20 years.
Let's talk about dialects. You teach dialects as well?
I do.
Okay. What does that look like?
Well, it's a little bit different in terms of I don't work with phonetics or anything like that. I work with where does the dialect come from? So if you look at a foreign dialect, say Italian, you've got a language behind that. And if you can listen to the dialect, and whether or not you can speak the language or not, if you start to imitate what you're hearing, a lot of times you start to realize why people have the dialect. And it's usually because they're using a part of their mouth they never use in their language. So, you know, for instance, a lot of times people talk about why do Russians, instead of say V, they say W. And it's because they don't have W in, you know, so they have to use the next best thing.
I thought because it wasn't in their vocabulary.
Yeah, well, I mean, W is really the sound.
Yeah.
If you listen to the language, you don't hear them go W, right?
Yeah.
Or other places, the TH sound.
Yeah.
You know,
You're right.
they can't. They go right.
Yeah.
Or
That's interesting what you just said. It's so true. Like, it's just you mimic folks long enough and you start kind of feeling like them almost. Like you fill out the character. You start almost like, a lot of kids do it when they watch Al Pacino and
Right.
like, you know, the Scarface thing. You start acting like that and suddenly other mannerisms, you're like, oh shit, like wow.
It builds a character.
Yeah, it does.
It changes your character depending on what you're doing. And yeah, there's, you know, British. There's so many different dialects in British.
Yeah.
I know quite a few of them. I don't know all of them because they are kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, Scottish and Geordie and Liverpool and
Yeah.
Manchester and London, they all have different dialects, and Wales. So that you do have to kind of just listen to and kind of get the sound. It's usually the sound of where the words come from. So if you start to work on that, rather than I gotta look at phonetics and trying to figure out what that sound is and then piece it all together, it starts to become like memorization, I think.
Right. So yeah, that's interesting because you mentioned earlier off camera that when we go to, you know, sometimes you could be on set and they could totally change everything.
Right.
They give you a new, probably like within that same day, got a whole stack of papers you gotta memorize and look at.
I had an interesting thing that went along with that. Is I did a movie, Nash Bridges, and had this whole scene. Really excited about it. Had this big chunk of dialogue. Went in, got the new script, but it was actually the old script. And I went to rehearse, and we got to this line, and I hear this line, and it's like, wait a minute, that skipped over that whole big thing that I was doing. And so I was a little off, and the main character goes, "You don't even know your lines?" And I was like, "Well, that's not what it says here." And the writer goes, "Oh yeah, we made changes, and we didn't give you the changes." So then you just got to go, "Okay, well that's what I got to deal with."
Yeah.
You got to be nice. I think it's more important to be a flexible actor rather than just good. You know, you have to be able to take direction.
Just malleable.
But you can't come in with no ideas. You can't come in and go, "Tell me what to do, director." You got to make your own thing. Mm-hmm. Once you get in there, the director might go, "You know, on this part, I think you're a little more this or that." And if you could say, "Okay," and then do that, that's the person they want to work with.
I love that. That's great. Take notes, guys, because I just did. Mental note. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about, you know, so actors in forums often say that the essence of performance is reacting, right?
Exactly.
Not pre-planning. How do you sort of cultivate this instinct in your work?
Well, it's
your workshop.
You know, it's kind of an extension of what I was talking about before, where when you pick up the script, instead of going, "Okay, what's going on in the scene?"
Yeah.
You have to look at where does the scene come from. So in other words, what led up to this? What do I know already?
The moment before, kind of?
Not just the moment, the life.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Each character's got a completely different life than you.
Yeah.
And to get to a character where you're playing like a, you know, motherfucker who comes in, you know, is a tough guy.
Yeah.
You got to go, okay, why am I a tough guy? You can't just come in and play a tough guy. You can say, why would I do that? If I grew up with 6 brothers who always beat the crap out of me, I grew up with a father who used to, you know, burn me with cigarettes when he was pissed off, and I got bullied in school, and my life has been bad. As soon as I do that, it makes it justifiable, first of all. You have to not judge your character. So you have to, you know, everybody validates their own actions. So you figure that out, and once you do that, then the scene starts to become a little bit more than just what's on the page.
Right.
A lot of actors
Right.
just do what's on the page, and
And
they might do the moment before, but they don't really delve into the psychology of what is, why is the character the
like
way
really
they are.
flesh it out.
And when you do that, and you're trying to do a line where you're trying to intimidate somebody, your job is not to act like you are intimidating.
No,
but
your
your
action
action is to intimidate them and scare the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And if I know the reason why I'm doing that, it just becomes kind of natural from you. So.
Wow, I love it. I like it, man. Thank you so much for that. That's really, really awesome. Let's talk about music. Because I really want to talk about, what led you to you obviously you said you grew up around a lot of music, and did you pick up an instrument, and how early did you pick up an instrument?
I actually didn't pick up an instrument. Well, I did drums in band when I was in like sixth grade, but I actually didn't pick up a instrument. I picked up the guitar first when I was 14.
Yeah.
And it had to do with a girl, So I was trying to impress a girl, and and I always sang everywhere I went, to the annoyance of my friends a lot of times. They go, "Would you stop singing?"
Yeah.
So I did, some musicals, and music is. I pretty much like it all art.
Yeah.
It's like looking at architecture.
You're super well-rounded.
Paintings. You look at sculpture. You listen to music. Keep yourself in all of the arts. You're going to be a more well-rounded actor.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And we're talking a little bit more about the karaoke, deal you're doing. Let's talk about a little bit, because you worked. Okay, so you worked. I have here that you worked for the public education. You worked at,
it's public education and government television. A lot of cities have this thing where they get funding from the government to provide production facilities and a channel in the local community for the public. Anybody can come in and join. They join as a membership. They take classes. They learn how to use the equipment, and they make their own TV show. So I did that for a little over 15 years, and that was great for me because I had 2 studios, a full big studio, a little green screen studio, had editing equipment, filming equipment. So
you can use all the equipment. You're like a one-man band, really.
I do that a lot.
And you do editing, and you do your own stuff, and you shot all these films that you have on your online. That people can find your films that were produced, directed, starred, written by yourself, and edited, which is not easy to do. The color grading is hard. I understand. That's tough. It takes a long time. Do you find, Aeron, that how's Hollywood different now than it used to be before, barring the obvious that a lot of the work is little by little crawling back into back here into the Mecca as what it was.
Right.
How do you feel it's changed? It's evolved.
A lot, because I was here for 4 years in the early 90s. And in the early 90s, if you wanted to be an actor down here, you had to get headshots, you had to get a resume, you had to staple them together, you had to put them in an envelope, you had to put a stamp on them, you had to take it to the post office, dump it in, and then it would fly off to the casting directors, and you'd never hear it. So it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about a catch-22.
Right.
There were lots of catch-22s. You can't join the union until you do a union job, but you can't do a union job unless you have a union card. It's who you know. You can't get the breakdowns. Now you can get the breakdowns. You can just go on and find out what's happening, and submit yourself. Everything's online. The other thing about it, if you did get an audition back then, you had to drive all the way across town. You had to find a place to park. You had to go in, sit around, because they're always behind 30 minutes. Sit around for 30 minutes to walk in for 2 minutes, do your scene, and then go back and get in your car and drive away. Now I can get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and set up a camera and go, I'm going to do my audition now, whenever it works. So that I personally like. A lot of people don't like not being in the room with people, but I think you got to be able to have a performance no matter what situation you're in.
Right. So I'm hearing like, you're talking about self-tapes and all that, which is great because that's something that you guys also offer at the cafe, right? At the studios.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find that, in a sense, when you would go in and, in person, like in the olden days, you come in pre-pandemic.
Right.
You come in and you sit around and wait, call your name, have your name up, and then so please follow me. You go through your scene. I used to like when, in a sense, it was cool because sometimes the only thing that was cool about that is you get a second chance sometimes. Can I try this differently?
Mm-hmm.
You do an adjustment or something. Or you get notes. Where versus now, whatever you plant on there, you put out, and it's a one shot you get, right?
Yeah. Usually a lot of times they'll say, can you can send it to takes.
Okay.
But you can't, the thing that I always tell people, you can't guess what they want. You're never going to know what they want. You could walk in the door and they go, nah, it doesn't look like the person I want. My job then becomes to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Prove them that even though I don't look like what you originally had, because they called you in, they got to read you. So, but yeah, you can't guess what they want. So all you have to do is come from your script analysis, what you figured out, your choices. Working it out, your choices, all of that kind of stuff. Put it on film, send it out there. The good thing is that there's so much more there, even though there's less opportunity because, like you were saying earlier, they're mostly using people they're comfortable with already,
right. Yeah.
And the big stars, and even the smaller stars, it's still, you always see the same people. Yeah. And it's because the directors know they work well with them, and they don't want to take a chance on a $1.5 million movie to bring in somebody new and have them become a nightmare.
Bankable versus non-bankable.
Right.
So that's where you make the relationships, and the ones that have the relationships, typically the ones you keep seeing.
Number one rule: be a nice person. Be nice to everybody. It doesn't matter who they are. Be nice to the production assistant. Be nice to everybody because you never know what they're going to be doing in 2 years.
Yeah.
You make a connection with a PA, and then 2 years later, they're a director.
Especially and more so now, where it's more indie, versus before with the conglomerates of the big boys,
Right.
Just nowadays, like any younger person can find the money to make a movie.
Yeah. And early 90s, there wasn't a lot of independent film at all.
Wow.
It was mostly, it was mostly
tough business, huh?
Yeah, it is, but it's fun business.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what you keep telling me. Now, on that, let's segue. It's a perfect segue. Advice for aspiring actors. Looking back, what would you say to someone just starting out in performance? Be it acting, music, or anything along the spectrum. What would you say?
Well, the first thing, and a lot of times,
be nice.
But number one. That really is number one. If you're a nice person to work with, and you're flexible, and you take direction, and you don't ask a lot of, stupid questions, trying to just ask a question to make a problem. Yeah. Try to find solutions all the time. That's a really big one. The one thing a lot of times it feels self-serving because I'm saying you should always be studying until you're working so much that you don't have time to study. Wow. Because it's not something it's not like cabinet building where you learn how to build a cabinet. Now I know I don't ever have to be trained on that again. But acting is the psychology of people, and we're never going to learn no matter who you are, you're never going to learn the whole psychology of people.
That's interesting.
So the more you're doing it, it also keeps you flexible. You're always getting better because you're getting more information. You're working out more in acting. Anytime you can get on a stage, especially if you're starting off.
Get on those boards.
Unless you are, unless it's a film or a play or something where you feel uncomfortable with the subject matter or something like that, do it. Just do it. Don't question, this is a small film. No. You're getting filmed.
There's no small films only?
No small actors only. No small parts, only small actors.
There you go.
Anything you can get, just get up there, work. And don't let your frustration, you have to realize how many people are getting the initial call. How many people
it's a numbers game, right?
Get called back. And so if you're one out of, 100 to 150 to 200 people who submitted, and you get a call back, man, that's a win. That's a huge win.
That's huge.
And if you get the part, you are one out of 100 or 150 people who applied for it that got the part. So most people don't think about that. They think, I'm not good enough. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just
they start getting petty. That asshole didn't hire me.
Yeah, I was better than him. Whatever.
Aeron, let me ask you this. Going back to one of my favorite cult classic films, Killer Klowns.
Yeah.
Outer Space. Do you own the VHS?
I do. I had to.
Did you bring any of the stuff? Did you bring one of the zap guns that the clowns were carrying around?
No, but there's a whole Facebook page that is a million.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many people.
It's vast.
And so I'm kind of somewhat a little bit well known on that.
Yeah, I think you're very well known. Actually, you just don't know that. You're staying humble. Karaoke Confidential. Let's talk about that, man. That's really cool. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so
Confidential.
So this is kind of piggybacking on all of the stuff I've done. So it's production. I'm going to be producing a show at the Ha Ha Comedy Club in the Valley. Sometime, I don't have an exact date, but sometime the end of October, first part of November. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a competition, and it's actually, I'm going to be showing the opening to the show that I want to do. I'm going to do.
Well, you're going to do, I think.
Where we go from city to city and go to like 2 or 3 karaoke places, interview people at the karaoke place, shoot just a little bit of singing because of copyright stuff. We don't want to pay for every song they do, but and then we'll pick one person per city. And then each person from those cities will come to LA at the end for the last episode and perform for $1 million. I don't know how much.
Put it out there. If you win the lotto, though, I hear it's $1.something billion right now in the pot.
Yeah.
If you win it, you could essentially do 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
Yeah. So look for the Eventbrite.
Okay.
It's going to be coming up. It's called Karaoke Confidential.
Okay.
And to come see the show is $25. Extra $10 as a performer. Get there fast because it's going to fill up fast, I'm sure. And then we're going to have a performance. I'm going to show the opening, tell people of the concept. We're going to have the competition, and then we'll have, depending on how much time we've got, we'll have open karaoke to everybody.
Or stand-up comedy or something.
Yeah.
Hey, that's going to be cool, man. I can't hardly wait for that. I'm actually going to go. I promise. I'll be there. Question for you. Who has been the nicest, or one of the nicest big actors you've worked with? And obviously big actor, that's relatively speaking, but it's all relative. But I mean, someone that you work with, that you admired, that you got a chance to work with, that was really nice to you, maybe said some kind words, or, give you advice perhaps,
Yeah. I've worked with some really nice people, and I've worked with some really not nice people. The nice people, Willie Nelson.
Wow.
Which was a huge thing for me because my brother-in-law was in a band in the 70s.
Just smoke a doobie with them? Tell the truth?
No, I didn't get to do that. But my brother was a drummer, and they were going to replace Paul English, and they asked him to do it. So I'd been to a few of his concerts. I met him before, and then I was on the set with him, and he was just the sweetest, quietest guy. Lynn Whitfield was really great. I just did a Your Honor when I moved down here, and Bryan Cranston was an amazingly wonderful person.
Very cool.
And another funny story about that, because it was right after COVID, so everybody was wearing masks. And I had just watched the last episode of season 1 because I was doing I think it was the first or second episode of season 2. And in season 1, he's a judge. He's all, clean cut and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm sitting at the bar, because it took place in a bar, and I'm waiting to start. And this guy comes up and he's got crazy hair and he's got a beard sticking out of his mask. I couldn't see his face. And he came up and he goes, "Hi, my name's Ryan. Nice to meet you." But the way he said it was so, I'm a guy. He wasn't like, "I'm Brian." He wasn't. And I didn't know who it was. And so I was like, "Well, yeah, nice to meet you, Brian." And then he walked off and he walked over and started doing the scene. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just met him." And
just kind of blew him off, like whatever.
I didn't blow him off because you gotta be nice. But I didn't know who he was. So I didn't say, it's really great working on your show. Rosie Perez was really nice.
She's sweet,
well.
yeah.
She's
I hear good
cool.
things about her.
She's very cool.
Who would you like to work with in the future?
A whole bunch of people. I'd love to work with Jason Bateman. I'd love to work with...
Genius, right?
Yeah.
Geniuses.
Love to work with Bryan Cranston again anytime. He's a great guy. You mentioned Robert Downey Jr. I'd love to work with him. Gary Oldman. Those
phenomenal.
Are some of my favorite actors are right there. So.
Wow, it's been nothing but a pleasure to have you here on, Aeron. You just made my day, as you know. I wanted to ask you if you can sing us a song. No, can you share your social media handles and also share your the page to the cafe?
Sure. So it's Aeron Macintyre everywhere. So it's Twitter and Facebook and all that, and it's AERON MACINTYRE. And then the Film Actors Café is just filmactorscafe.com. You can also call us at 877-ON-FILM-1.
How about that?
Yeah, give us a call. I teach Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock at the LA School of Comedy, which is 10835 Santa Monica Boulevard.
Okay.
Tuesday night class, 7 p.m. It's a drop-in class. Anybody can come. $50 a class, so it's not expensive.
Not breaking the bank. You come away with a lot of great information, stuff it's a good workout.
Yeah, and then I do Zoom classes and work one-on-one. As a matter of fact, the girl who's doing the Hell's Kitchen tour, I've never met her in person.
Get it?
We've only worked over Zoom. And
it's a great thing, Zoom, huh?
It is.
It's a fantastic way of communicating with the world.
It really is. It's great.
You're filling that gap with the whole world. I mean, you could be anywhere. As long as you have a signal, you're good.
And FaceTime. My daughter moved to New Zealand.
Wow.
So she lives in New Zealand. And my dad was in the military and we'd moved to different countries. And the phone calls, when you get ready for a phone call to call grandma, you have to all stand around and talk about what you're going to talk about. Because it was only a few seconds. I can talk to her every day, look at her, talk to her, have a have a conversation.
Full-on conversation.
Never have to worry about time. And
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you do this again? Would you do part 2 of this?
Absolutely.
The great.
It's a pleasure.
Aeron Macintyre, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's my show. I've been mind blown. Unbelievable time here. Just taking it back. Thanks again for doing this. Once again, it's Almost Famous Radio Podcast. Jim Francis Mesa. You can look me up on YouTube. You can look Jim Francis Mesa everywhere on Google, in every platform across the spectrum. Thanks again, guys. That's my show. Hello and goodbye until we meet again. Thank you.
Bye. Oh boy, man, that was fun, Jim. Good interview. Really enjoyed it.